back to SP.Channel. Tonight we have a special guest. We have SpxSam from twitch.tv/SpxSam. We are going to talk about Dragon Ball Z and all things Dragon Ball Xenoverse tonight. We have Tate from Tateplays also, and we may have Psycho Gamer drop by. It's going to be an interesting conversation, so hold on to your panties, people. Let's rock. Okay, so tonight's discussion was going to be about Dragon Ball and all things Dragon Ball. I believe Future Trunks was going to be a key figure in this discussion. What are your thoughts on Future Trunks, SPX?
Oh yeah, man. Me in I guess a particular way, I'm more of a fan of Trunks than I am Goku. Now, don't get me wrong, definitely like Goku. But I think Future Trunks has more of an impact on the series than more, people would think. At an earlier discussion that we were having, one of the things we were talking about were parallel and, you know, the multitude of how something and why not, I guess is the best way I can put that.
Basically, the nature of time travel and how multiverse, while causality and split timelines are different but similar theories.
Exactly.
The Future of Trunks arc in Dragon Ball Z was heavily and by far one of the most popular arcs in the original Dragon Ball Z storyline. What are your thoughts on Future Trunks? Why was he so popular? He is, by large and far, one of the most recognized and popular characters in the original Dragon Ball Z storyline. Still till this day, Trunks is remembered fondly. Why do you think that is?
I'm going to do for a general public, and then I'm going to do me.
Okay.
At the time, when he came out for the general public, everybody saw a big sword and that blondish, whitish hair. If you think of a really big sworded person in a particular video game around that particular time, I think people just flocked to him.
You may have
referring to Cloud.
You may have a point. I didn't really think about that, but really, when he goes Super Saiyan with the sword there, and especially the color scheme of how he's dressed, he does bear a passing resemblance to Cloud.
And you don't see too many people hating on Cloud.
Well, it's really hard to hate on Cloud. It was easier to hate on Squall from Final Fantasy VIII. The thing about Squall was, and I don't mean to divert because we are going to do the Dragon Ball Z thing, but I would like to say this about Squall from Final Fantasy VIII, just throw it in there. The thing about Squall is from the very beginning of Final Fantasy VIII, Squall had this attitude, like, I'm so much better than everybody else, and I'm so stuck up, I'm not going to talk to anybody, and, and here's the thing, Cloud had a deep, intricate story that made you care about his character. That's the reason Cloud could play off that attitude and people liked Cloud. But from the very beginning, before we even knew who Squall was, here's this stuck-up Pop-Tart, And I don't feel that it translated over into Squall's story as well as it translated into Cloud's story, because from the very beginning, Squall was this stuck-up tart, and you were supposed to like that, I just never, I never latched on to Squall as well as I did Cloud. But anyway, back to Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super. We were talking about the timeline splits and how the events of the split timeline didn't carry over into both timelines. When Future Trunks came back and he actually helped fight the androids and helped defeat Cell, and he got so much stronger, fighting alongside Goku and Gohan and Vegeta. Those events didn't affect his future timeline. He had to actually go back into his timeline. If you remember from near the end of the Trunks arc, Trunks actually had to go back into his timeline, and by himself, he had to defeat the androids and he had to defeat Cell. So there was a timeline split, and the actions of one timeline didn't necessarily affect the other. The only thing I can think that carried over from one timeline to another was the training that Future Trunks did in the proper timeline his strength did carry over into his other timeline when he went home.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, definitely agreed.
So SPX, um, what are your thoughts on Future Trunks? Um, he was, as I said, he was a blindingly popular character. Um, why do you feel that Goten, who was a character of debatable importance in the series, when you get into the discussions of the Gotenks fusion, you can't have Gotenks without Goten. But where was where was Goten in this future timeline? Was it possibly just because Goku passed away before Goten even had a chance to be born? Um,
Mm-hmm.
so Future Trunks may have never even known Goten.
Yep, and if you think about it, Goten and Future Trunks went Super Saiyan by themselves.
Well, here's the thing. If you remember, because I'm a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, right? Here's the thing. This is why a lot of people have what I like to call Chi-Chi hate. A lot of people really don't like Chi-Chi. Even hardcore fans of the series, will say, well, Chi-Chi is this terrible bitch. Can't stand her. And here's the reason why. She raised Gohan completely differently than she raised Goten. With Gohan, from the very start, she was like, oh, you're going to be a scholar. You can't fight. You're not going to be a thug. You're not going to do this. You're going to sit down and you're going to study your books. But by the time Gohan was grown and Goten was becoming a little kid, Chi-Chi was actually taking Gohan out into the woods and training him how to fight. And the reason that she was doing this, of course, this is a long-running joke in all of Dragon Ball. Goku is so caught up into fighting that he's barely even aware that he's married and got children. It's like he comes back from being dead for 3 years. It's like, oh, you've had another kid, Chi-Chi. You almost expect him to say, is it mine? you know, um,
Yeah. But I always thought that was funny. He come back to life, and all of a sudden they got another kid.
yeah. Well, I mean, the thing is, you have to realize. Well, you guys have to realize though, the time was very carefully thought out. Remember when that fight went on and he was allowed to come back, but he was still dead, had the halo around his head?
Yeah.
Yep.
We're assuming that that was when Goten was conceived, or at least fans are assuming that. So
Otherworldly
basically,
skirmish.
if you really want to dig real deep with your fandom, the reason that Goten is so insanely powerful is because Goku may have been dead when he helped conceive Goten. And so when Goten was conceived, he may have gotten some sort of different kind of altered genetics and received a full powered version. Goten, he got pissed off, he may be able to go Super Saiyan 3 right now.
Are you fighting a dragon, Sam?
Mm-mm. I may have moved my computer.
Dude, it
Huh?
sounded like you were slaying a dragon over there.
If you're going to slay a dragon, make sure to win.
Or train it.
Yeah, I saw that movie. That was a good little movie. Um, so really about Future Trunks, there are some interesting parallels. I would like to bring into consideration the character development of Vegeta throughout the series. Now, this is something that fans have known if they've seen GT. It was decided a long time ago that Vegeta, in some ways, was going to soften up, and Vegeta has come a long way. He actually shows a great deal more love and consideration for his family than Goku ever thought about showing. If you think about it, um, think about Vegeta. He's actually there with Bulma. He's actually there with his kids, even in GT. He spends a lot of time with his family, as compared to Goku. It's like, oh man, the fighting's done, and I got to talk to this black-headed bitch. I don't even remember her name. I'm gonna go train with King Kai. That's Goku's philosophy. You know, I seriously think sometimes that Goku would forget Chi Chi's name if he wasn't made to go back home.
I think the only reason he goes back home is to get a good meal.
That might be it, because I mean, definitely by about the second kid, he's starting to wonder how these all these babies are getting born. And I know Goku has no idea how Chi Chi's actually getting pregnant, because all he worries about is fighting. So he just thinks it happens by magic, I guess.
He's he's doing Kamehamehas and forgetting where he's putting them at.
Yeah, for
Well,
reals.
you also got to remember, he did hit his head very, very hard when he was little.
Well, you tapped onto something that I would like to mention in Dragon Ball Z, and I don't want to offend anyone by saying this. How can I say this in a proper context?
He's retarded.
Well, I wouldn't have used that word, but I mean,
Well,
basically, I look at it like this: if a person is deficient in one way, their body, their genetic makeup will make up for that deficiency in another way. If you guys remember, throughout the series, it's been stated that Goku was a low-class Saiyan, and that even the elite of the Saiyans could not go Super Saiyan. It was reserved for legendary status of the highest-ranking warriors. But somehow Goku was just able to, like, oh yeah, I've been able to do that for 10 years. Bleep, see, I'm gold. You know, is it possible that Goku's amazing strength actually comes from the fact that when Goku got hit on the head as a child, right, that caused him to have some form of serious mental deficiency, and his body, his made up for his mental deficiency by giving him just hellish freakish strength.
It definitely
very
could
possible.
be. One nugget from it's fandom, of course. It ain't no, it's true or anything, but
Oh yeah, all of this is fandom.
yeah. But this one was kind of funny. Uh, and he's basically on the same thing you are. Minus he's actually saying what he has, and he says the reason he is so strong, and you can tell this out through the series. Sometimes he don't know how strong he is.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Now, if you think of disorders in a modern day era, uh, I'm gonna use kids. I mean, there's probably there. I mean, they'll eventually grow up and be adults, but let's just use kids for this particular way I want to say it. Um, Autism.
Now, you could be right. I couldn't particularly label. Here's the thing. I actually have some experience. I used to work with autistic children. Um, Here's the thing about Goku. When Goku does fight, when Goku does interact with others, it doesn't seem like what I have noticed in autism. With autistic children, you usually have um, a very withdrawn child. They have their own little worlds that they make up, and they want to live in those worlds, but they don't want to communicate and associate with others, because when those people communicate and associate with them, well, that rips them out of their world. That's why they're so withdrawn, and they don't want to communicate very often. Whatever it is that's wrong with Goku, it
Hold
could
up.
be a
I'm
it
gonna stop
could be.
you.
Oh, go ahead.
Do me one favor. Describe uh, Goku in Fee. How does he act?
Um, Now, if you saw all of the Dragon Balls as I have, I've got to be honest with you, and I've got to lay this right down, to the T.
Mhm.
In Z, Goku is at the top of his game as far as being smart. He is as smart in Z as he ever was ever again. If you look back to the original Dragon Ball, he was basically a very simplistic child. He wanted to jump into the creeks and beat the hell out of a fish to drag it out of the water and go eat it. I mean, look at some of the things Goku ate as a child. He would just, like, whatever dead animal he found or he killed, he would go and eat it. Um, now look in Z. He actually said some terribly clever things from time to time. Um, Now you could be right. It could be a form of high functioning autism, because when it comes to battling and fighting, I think we could all agree that at least in that aspect, Goku is portrayed as a genius when it comes to fighting. And you have to be legit and fair with Goku here. For all the training that he's done, he does still seem to surpass Vegeta. And everybody wants to look at Vegeta like, well, Vegeta's just, you know, he's the second banana. He's second class to Goku. But you have to realize that Vegeta not only was born of high royal blood, which was a very strong bloodline, Vegeta was born exceptionally strong. He was an exceptionally strong child. He was defeating enemies that were bigger than him, full-grown adults, when he was walking around 6 years old. You know, the thing about Vegeta is that, you know, Vegeta's had a lot of very high-class training. You can see it in his personality and how he acts. The only kind of woman Vegeta would have ever settled down with would have been an extravagantly wealthy woman. And I think that the reason that Vegeta chose Bulma was, if you look at the Dragon Ball Z universe, from a financial aspect, Bulma is pretty well the princess of planet Earth. She's the richest woman on the planet.
I would agree with some statements.
I mean, if you could call Capsule Corp a kingdom, she is definitely the princess of Capsule Corp anyway.
I don't know about a kingdom, but an industry for sure.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Goku, on the other hand, you know, he fell and he hit his head as a child. You know, there's even several statements, and you do make SPX, you do make some good comments. Like, for instance, I believe at one point in the Dragon Ball Z series, especially if you were watching the Japanese subbed into English, Frieza, who spoke very proper and very educated, you know, with the American dub, with the English dub, of course they changed some of what they said just to go along with the action. Frieza spoke in a very educated, very formal, very proper manner. And Frieza actually more than once spoke to Goku in English. And this was in the original Japanese. And Goku actually went on record as saying, well, my English is terrible. I don't speak very good English. Goku is pretty well portrayed as basically a stark raving moron outside of anything but fighting. But within the field of fighting, he's almost like a Johnny B. Good. He couldn't do much of anything, but when it come to fighting, you know, he was a fighting genius. And you may be right. I think we could go more in depth with that. I believe, you know, while Asperger's syndrome is a variation of autism, I think particularly what Goku is suffering from is Asperger's.
Could be, but
It definitely could be. But the reason I said that, and even you adding that, that's usually that's not something that they diagnose early on. It's something later, teenager, adult years is usually when that gets noticed.
Which really, if you think about it, with Goku being a child, you could just say, well, that's his childlike innocence and that's his way. But if you pay careful attention to Goku as an adult, you know, you can't call that childlike innocence. Of course, Goku still retains a certain amount of innocence. They still go on and on about how he's got a pure heart, which was one of the... They originally thought that the reason that a person could go Super Saiyan was originally because Goku had such a pure heart. But Vegeta proved, and later on Trunks proved, that no, you know, the Super Saiyan transformation is definitely linked into emotions and anger and rage, tapping into like a primal instinct.
mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, as you were saying earlier, sometimes he didn't know he had a wife and everything. And, you know, we were using autism earlier as kids, you know, how they make up their own things, stay away, you know, stuff like that.
Sam,
Yeah.
you keep humping the dragon, man.
The dragon ain't ready for it, buddy.
You keep humping the dragon. What's up over there?
I ain't got nowhere to put my laptop. Leave me alone. Anyway, let's. Yeah, I mean, that right there could be a easily explained Goku.
I believe it to be a form of mental retardation. I do.
Well, I mean, if you do want to link it to that, we would definitely have to go back to the point where, you know, Goku's original mission, and this is why the idea of an evil Goku is so appealing to people. Look at how the Saiyans were originally. They were bloodthirsty warriors that, you know, their whole function was to come in, eliminate an entire planet's worth of people so they could take the real estate and sell it. And Goku's original mission was he was sent to Earth, and it was assumed that by the time he had adolescence, the entire Earth would be wiped out. And if you remember in the original Dragon Ball, Goku was quite an evil little bastard at first, until he fell and hit his head on that rock.
Mm-hmm.
So at some point, if you dig deep enough into Goku's psyche, whatever that accident to his head done, that evil may still be deep down in there. I would also like to bring into this. With Goku, Goku loves to fight. He's a warrior, and Goku does have an innocent heart. But let's go with Goku's morality. How good of a guy is Goku really? And I would like to bring up some points if you guys would like to hear them. What are the kinds of people that Goku hangs around regularly? Think about this. His son is marrying into the Satan family. Okay, basically there's your connotation to devil, Satan, right there. Her name is Videl, which is backwards for devil. All right. What kinds of gods? Every time Goku has had to hang around the good guys, look at Kami. Goku, if you can tell by his actions toward Kami, Goku didn't like Kami. Now you can say, well, why didn't Goku like Kami? And you can say, well, that was because at the time he had this bitterness toward Piccolo. No, Goku actually liked Piccolo. Think about it. He was interacting with Piccolo, but whenever Kami would show up, Goku would actually go on record saying, it's Kami. Goku is not terribly fond of the good deities. What kind of deities does Goku hang around? Beerus, god of destruction. Goku might have a good nature, but he tends to hang around some pretty evil guys, if you think about it. Think about this. Is Goku in line to be the next god of creation? No. He's in line to be the next god of destruction. So, really, you have to question Goku's true nature. Is Goku, at the very base of his soul, a good guy? He comes off like he is. His personality would seem that way, but the kinds of people he hangs around, when Vegeta come by, he wanted to destroy the whole planet Earth, right? And he's like, no, Krillin, don't kill him. I've got a bro love for him. Don't kill him, Krillin. And he was like the evilest bastard you could possibly imagine. And and then Goku gets this man love for Beerus, who is the god of destruction. It seems like at Goku's very base nature, it's not about good or bad. It's about, oh my God, you're so powerful, teach me. So I don't even think Goku cares about good or evil. I mean, if you really want to think about it. And think about this. As much as he claims to hate Frieza and how evil Frieza was, after Frieza had killed Krillin, after Frieza had destroyed Planet Vegeta, Goku was like, now look, I'm going to let you go. This is your last chance, Frieza. I'm walking away. I don't think Goku really does give a rat's ass about good or evil, man. I just think it's ever how he can get more powerful. And if you think about it, that's a terribly selfish attitude. Because to the point of neglecting his family, neglecting his children, if you remember once, who was it, the Supreme Kai, or the Grand Kai? The one with the funky mohawk, the purple guy? During the Buu Saga, Goku raised his hand and was ready to blast that motherfucker clean to Kingdom Come. Because he got in between him and Vegeta. Goku, at the very base of his core, may still retain some of that, evil, original programming.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a thought. I know Goku is portrayed as a very, very good guy, but you have to take these examples. His son married into the Satan family, which of course, that's not to say that, but I mean, come on, their name is Satan. If we're going with, Proverbs here, if we're going with, Whis, Beerus, that's the god of destruction. He's got the option. You've seen Goku through all his journeys. He has totally always had the option to hang around the good gods. They've invited him to be around. They've invited him to be a god. And he's like, no, I just care about fighting, getting stronger. And who does he hang around a lot? Beerus. He is always right there. He goes to Beerus's planet, trains with Beerus. It's the god of destruction that Goku took a fancy to. So they say that you can know a person by their actions and their choices. Look at the choices Goku has made. He has chosen to neglect his family. He has chosen to hang around with these gods who, Beerus is the god of destruction. He's not good. He's not evil. It's his job to just destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are just my thoughts. SPX, some thoughts, brother.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really disagree with anything you said on Goku. I mean, it sounds pretty much all accurate.
It could be his warrior instinct, his Saiyan DNA, because they're a proud warrior race, and their main focus. Even if you look at Vegeta, there are times when Vegeta's just like, you know what, Bulma, no, I'm gonna go train. Don't even bother me. But I would like to say this about Vegeta. Unlike Goku, Vegeta wasn't hit on the head as a child. Vegeta does tend to spend a little more time with his family. If you pay attention, especially in Dragon Ball Super, Vegeta's mellowed out a lot.
Yeah, but he had daddy issues.
This is true. You make a good point about that. And, Vegeta truly did have daddy issues. Till this day, if there was a random Saiyan to show up and mention King Vegeta, well, I mean, there's no telling what Vegeta's reaction would be to that,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the only way that there wouldn't be no issue is literally if he said King Vegeta was a douche. Then Vegeta would probably shake his head.
I mean, yeah. Also, if you look, have you saw a lot of Dragon Ball Super or any Dragon Ball Super or maybe even Battle of the Gods?
Battle of the Gods, I'm not gonna lie, I cannot remember if I watched it or not. Me and a couple friends had a Dragon Ball Z marathon. I've watched enough Super. I was actually gonna ask you because on Super, has Goten showed up at all yet?
Here's the thing. Goten, of course, has shown up in Super. Goten and I guess you'd call him Kid Trunks, they're best buddies. They hang around with each other all the time. Goten is in Super. As a matter of fact, if you want to get straight up to date with Goku's family, Pan has just been born.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah, you're a little bit more ahead of me in Super then.
Yeah. I've been trying to keep up. The big news in Super right now is there is an evil Goku, and that's the reason that I wanted to bring you on and have this discussion, because there are thoughts that there is an evil Goku that has showed up, and here's what's interesting about that. The evil Goku, Goku Black, has shown up in Future Trunks' timeline, where the original Future Trunks is. Here's the thing. Future Trunks was trying to defend, his timeline because these questions have been asked in the manga. These questions have been answered. So, what did you do about Majin Buu, Future Trunks? Oh, well, the Supreme Kai came to me and told me about it all, and, Majin Buu never even had the chance to wake up. I just went straight to his container and destroyed it, so Majin Buu never awoke. And that was how he defeated Majin Buu. Well, what did you do about Golden Frieza? And he's like, what? Frieza's dead. He never came back. But here's the thing. In the alternate timeline, when Frieza was resurrected, if you saw Resurrection of Frieza,
I did.
He wasn't just after Goku. He was after Trunks, because Trunks was the one that killed, Frieza and his father. Here's the thing. We know that in the Future Trunks timeline, because we were talking about split timelines, in the Future Trunks timeline, there was, the original dead Goku. Goku died of a heart virus, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is some amount of speculation that some sort of evil force, we don't know who or what, decided, well, here's what I'm going to do. We're going to resurrect Goku's dead body, and we're going to use it to just destroy everything. If you look at the aura of Future Trunks, or not the aura of Future Trunks, the aura of Goku Black. Goku Black has several different aura forms. One of his aura forms seems to very closely resemble Beerus, God of Destruction. Now you have to realize, Beerus, God of Destruction, is a God of Destruction. How do we know that the that Beerus from the future timeline isn't Goku Black. That's a theory no one has speculated as of yet. That's new to this video. I suspect that the Beerus from the future timeline never met Goku, never had that battle, and he just does not care. Because if you look at Beerus as a character, as an entity, Goku has really softened Beerus up. Beerus is almost friendly to a certain point in this timeline because of Goku and the interaction with Goku. But the original Beerus, as he originally was shown, was this ill-tempered guy that didn't care to destroy anything. So I would like to bring this in. Goku Black, which basically is Goku's body. But now he's made some key statements that make you understand that, first of all, Goku Black is not a true Saiyan. Goku Black is not Goku. And whoever Goku Black is possessed Goku's dead body. These things have been stated. No one knows who or why. But we do know that when Goku Black first met Goku, he said, "I've always wanted to fight you. So you're Goku. I've always wanted to fight you in this body." You know, so it could be someone Goku has fought previously. We don't know. And if it is someone he's fought previously, when Black Goku goes what they call Super Saiyan Crimson, which is a variation of God form, the aura looks exactly like Majin Buu's pinkish aura.
Now, it definitely could be. The one thing you do have to remember, with the, I cannot remember the person that was kind of like the handler of Majin Buu. Do you remember his name?
Well, as I remember, there was like a name pun on that. There was Bibbidi, Bobbidi, and Boo. There was originally Bibbidi, and then there was his son, Bobbidi. So I believe it might have been Bobbidi that was Boo's handler in the time frame that you're talking about.
Well, I think I can't remember if it was him or if it was somebody else. Because remember, if they could take over, like Majin Buu could take over people, and he'd have like the M.
Yeah. He could use his Majin form. I believe you're thinking of Bibbidi. Because
yeah, I think Bibbidi.
Yeah, Vegeta was taken over, and if I'm not mistaken, for a short little time, even if it was for a second, wasn't Videl taken over for a split second?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Now, the reason I bring that up is you're saying that Goku Black could be has the aura Majin Buu. Now you'd have to bring in the fact this would be with future Trunks that Majin Buu never woke up. I'm gonna use bunny ears.
Yeah. Well, the thing that I would like to bring up about that is, from my understanding, now I may be off base here. From my understanding, when Future Trunks returned in Super, it had been so many years. There was a full-grown Mai, right? But she wasn't as old as the original Mai. Apparently, Trunks and Mai kind of have a thing for each other. She was a teenage Mai about the same age as Trunks. So she's a real popular character, and people are waiting for her to actually show up in Super. When Black Goku first arrived in the future timeline, in the Future Trunks timeline, he shows up and he's chasing Trunks. Well, Trunks runs to his mother, who says, "Well, I've got just enough of this time travel fluid, this blue goo, for you to travel back and get help from Vegeta and Goku when they were still alive." Well, Black Goku shows up. He's pissed off because he can sense their ki. He knows exactly where Trunks is. Walks right up in there where Bulma and Trunks are. He kills future Bulma. I mean, grabs her by the throat and just blasts her, fries her into dust. Kills her. And Trunks takes off running out of fear. And he tries to save Mai. And then Black Goku seemingly kills future Mai. No one really knows yet if future Mai is truly alive. There's assumptions that she is, but it's one of those things like at the end of the next episode, you saw her finger twitch. It showed her, and then it showed her finger twitch, so she's probably not dead. But as of the moment, Dragon Ball Super is getting a little strange because Future Trunks is, of course, back in the proper timeline, talking to Vegeta and Goku, and Kid Trunks is there, and Kid Mai is there because Mai was it Mai and Shao and Palov? Yeah,
Yeah.
it was Emperor Palov. They were turned back into kids in the at some point in the series. Um, Now here's the thing. So Kid Mai is back there, and when Future Trunks shows up, and sees Kid Mai, the first thing he does is gets down on his knees. Is like, "Oh my gosh, it's you! Do you know who you are?" And so the young Kid Mai has this huge crush on the big full-grown Trunks, and the little kid Trunks is quite jealous of the full-grown-up Trunks, and so there's that kind of strange story arc going on there with that. Um, they're building up to travel back, to the future where Goku Black was. Goku Black was originally in that future timeline. Now, Goku Black has something called a time ring, which allows him to travel through time, but he's only got a limited few seconds. So he followed Trunks to the timeline where he was, where Goku and Vegeta were. Goku got a chance to square off against Black Goku, and Willie, you know how Dragon Ball Z is. They had kind of like a little slap fight. Neither one of them went all out. Um,
Pissing contest.
yeah. Neither one of them went all out. Goku didn't even transform into a Super Saiyan, I don't believe. So then Goku Black's time ring jerks him back in time. And then Future Trunks is like, well, here's what happened, and here's everything how it is, and we've got to defeat this guy. He's killed Bulma, and then of course you know how Vegeta is. Vegeta doesn't care that it's a different Bulma from an alternate timeline. Vegeta's got this whole like, no, you're my kid, even though you're from the future, and that's my Bulma, even though she's from the future. Goku Black is mine. I'm gonna kill that son of a bitch. He's got that whole attitude going on.
If America was a thing in Dragon Ball Z, the minute you would have seen Vegeta say America.
Yeah, Oh, dude, that would be the most awesome shit ever. Vegeta defeats Goku Black and it says, America! Fuck yeah! I don't
say yeah.
I don't see that happening, but it would be an epic moment. So really,
there's a bridge. That's all I'm saying.
Really, I've got you guys caught up on Dragon Ball Super where it's at. There's only this one little key thing. Right now, Beerus and Whis tend to believe that Goku Black is this guy called Zamasu. Zamasu is this character from Universe 10. Now, here's the deal. In Universe 10, there's a Supreme Kai called Zamasu. Zamasu doesn't like anything human. He thinks that humans, and when I say anything human, I don't mean just Earth humans. I mean basically if you're not a deity or a god, you're considered in that lower tier. Anything that's in that lower tier to him is trash, garbage, needs to be killed. So basically mortals. Anything mortal, Goku Black hates. Now Zamasu, when he first met Goku, of course, Goku goes up to Zamasu, and you know how Goku is. He don't care how strong somebody is. He walks right up to him. He shakes their hands. Come on, fight me. Just fight me just a little bit. Come on, fight me. And, of course, you've got to realize from Zamasu's point of view, he's like, why is this insignificant piece of trash even here? You're dirtying up the place bringing him here. And then Beerus says to him, it's like, be careful. If you don't use your full power against him, you will die. Beerus said, I fought him. And Zamasu goes, you fought him? And he said, weren't you listening? I just said so. Because Beerus has that attitude. And he said, use your full power. If you don't, you'll die. And so Goku kind of powers up, and Zamasu powers up. And here's the thing about Zamasu. It was an interesting fight to see, even though it was a short fight. Zamasu's moves, the way he reacted, the way he fought, his aura, his energy, was exactly like Goku Black's. Their stances, the way they prepare to use a move, it was exactly like Goku Black's. So right now everybody is in the persuasion that Zamasu is Goku Black. I don't necessarily buy that. I think that Goku Black could be Majin Buu. I think, because look, Zamasu is a deity, and he is also on the side of creation. I believe Zamasu has went this far with it. I believe Zamasu has traveled back to the alternate timeline, and he has took Majin Buu's soul and put it in Goku's body. Because think about it. I don't think a god of creation, the way that Zamasu was acting, really even wants to dirty his hands touching humans. That's how much he seems to hate humans. So I think that he has got someone else using Goku's body. I don't think it's exactly Zamasu, but I do believe it's someone Zamasu trained. Which really, if you think about it, almost it may not be Majin Buu. Nobody really knows who Goku Black is. All we know for sure right now is that it's definitely the original Goku's body in the Future Trunks timeline, because when Goku Black gets hit very, very hard or gets very, very exasperated, he will grab his chest, just like Goku did when he had the heart virus. So we're making assumptions that that is actually the dead Goku's body from the Future Trunks timeline.
I mean, they never really. When Goku came back, he just came back. It ain't like he came out of a grave, so it's definitely possible.
Well, that's another thought that I wanted to address that was never addressed. Maybe it was because it was in the future timeline. Look how many times Goku just basically got a free pass to come back, in his timeline proper. It's like, oh, you're dead. Well, hell, that's nothing. Have a milkshake, wait for him to wish you back, right? But in the future Trunks timeline, when Goku died of that heart virus, oh, that's it, buddy. You're in the ground. It's over. Why exactly was that, do you guys think?
Aladdin's genie wasn't there.
I mean, you could be right. I mean, it does seem like the Dragon Balls, for some reason, were a huge issue in the Future Trunks timeline. Were they destroyed or something?
Shit, I'd say it'd be hard to track down the Dragon Balls with them androids on your ass every second.
Well, I mean, Trunks defeated those androids. And I mean, here's the thing: up until Goku Black killed her, because we know Future Bulma's dead. I mean, it showed a silhouette of him holding her by the neck as she evaporated into ashes. She dead. She is dead. Um, but I mean, Bulma was the one that had the Dragon Radar. Uh, I mean, it's possible that at some point it just wasn't mentioned. It's possible that the androids or someone destroyed the Dragon Balls.
Hell, one of the prizes was one of the Dragon Balls
You're talking about in
on
Super.
that ship. Yeah, and Super.
Yeah.
Well, if you remember too, I don't remember if it was said in a show or said in a different media. Once the balls were collected, they go back out in the world, but they're harder to find.
Yeah, yeah. That is true. That it has been mentioned. Also, while this isn't mentioned very much, I believe there's a certain time frame that even though they go back out into the world, they're completely inert for a certain amount of time. It may be 6 months, it may be a year. I'm not sure, but like they're just basically rocks until that certain amount of time passes.
That'd be something you build on top of that. Then you have 5 or 6 Saiyans coming down looking for a little orange ball. That's worse than the police coming in looking for something else.
Yeah, really, really. Um,
Super Saiyan lives matter.
yeah, but so how can we talk about Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball GT? By the way, if you want to throw in some GT talk, we can. I do want to say about Dragon Ball GT, as far as I know, Dragon Ball GT is not canon, but if you really, really, really want to work it in there, Dragon Ball GT does take place even further down the road than Super. It's much later in time. It has been said that GT is not canon. Akira Toriyama didn't work on GT. The company that originally produced Dragon Ball Z after Akira Toriyama retired was like, well, this is our moneymaker. We want to do a Dragon Ball something, and we do own the rights to Dragon Ball, so we're going to make it. And Akira Toriyama at the time was like, oh, well, I'm retired. Do whatever you want to do. I don't care. But later on, Akira Toriyama came out of retirement, and when he did, he's like, look, I'm doing Battle of the Gods. I'm doing Revival of Frieza, and there may be a series. GT never happened. It's not canon. So that's what happened to GT, if you guys are wondering. Why is GT not popular to talk about anymore? The creator of Dragon Ball come out and basically said, the guys that owned the company made GT for a quick buck. I had nothing to do with it, and it's not canon, and I don't acknowledge it. So that's what happened to GT. In fairness toward GT, if you've seen GT, I've seen GT. Anybody that's seen GT will have to admit that GT didn't get good until like episode 30 anyway. Up until episode 30, they were flying around in little spaceships having fun. It was a comedy. You know, the real fighting didn't occur in GT until episode 30.
I'm not gonna lie. I was so hooked on C that it was really hard for me to watch GT. I don't even think I watched a episode of GT.
That's okay, brother. I will be fair about GT. There was only 64 episodes of GT. The first 30 episodes of GT were so horrible that I don't think they call them the lost episodes. The first 24 episodes are considered the lost episodes. You can't find them anywhere. Once you hit episode 30, they were so desperate to turn the series around that they started bringing the fighting in. But basically, the first 30 episodes were like this. It was Trunks and Pan and young Goku flying around in a spaceship all over the universe collecting these universal Dragon Balls, right? And it was very akin to the original Dragon Ball. You know, there wasn't a lot of fighting, there wasn't a lot of great action. It wasn't great. The first 30 episodes of GT wasn't great. Now I have to be fair. When they got desperate to make it great, GT did get good. They brought in Goku. Goku went Super Saiyan 4. Then Vegeta went Super Saiyan 4. And then there was the fight against Shenron, which was memorable. GT did get great toward the very end. It made you kind of miss it once it was gone. But again, GT was not canon. You know, Akira Toriyama does not acknowledge it. And I don't believe Super will ever tie into GT. GT will be one of those forgotten series.
True. I mean, I sound like a fanboy if.
Oh, I am a fanboy. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Well, no, I'm gonna sound like a fanboy of a particular character. If GT was like, you know, about my boy Future Trunks, I would have been all about it.
Oh man, I gotta be fair. I gotta be fair about Vegito and Gogeta. If you saw GT, have you guys ever played a game? You guys are about that age. Maybe you saw this game. It was called Chrono Trigger.
Oh yeah.
All right. If you guys have played Chrono Trigger, of course you know that here's the thing about Chrono Trigger and Dragon Ball Z. Akira Toriyama did the art for Chrono Trigger. He was also the guy that did the art for Dragon Ball Z. One of the most epic moments in all of GT is when Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta and Super Saiyan 4 Goku fuse. And when they do fuse, I promise, look this up on the internet, you've basically got Chrono. I mean, of course he's called Gogeta, but he's basically Chrono. He looks exactly like Chrono. I mean, it was epic. To me, it was epic.
Yep.
The big hot topic right now in Super, because all of us fans are wondering and waiting. We want to know. What we do know is that Goku Black is going to be the most fearsome true enemy that they have fought. We are 54 episodes into Dragon Ball Super, and all of the fights have been reminiscent to Z. There have been no serious fights. It's always been like, well, we're just going to go Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan, turn blue, flick you a few times in the nose, ta-da-ta-da, the heroes win. But Goku Black's a different story. He's a very vile, very evil villain, and he means only harm and destruction to everything living on planet Earth. He is the next true villain after Majin Buu.
By the way, Majin Buu.
Yes.
Favorite villain character turned good guy ever.
Well, I have to say, of all the various forms of Majin Buu, now
I love the fat one.
Well, the good fat Buu, he's cool. He's got a personality. It makes you like him. But my favorite form of Majin Buu would have had to have been Kid Buu. I mean, Kid Buu just he just oozed badassery.
He wrecked shit.
Yeah. Kid Buu was possibly the strongest version of Buu, because here's the thing. Kid Buu happened when good Buu separated from bad Buu, because if you remember the whole origin of Majin Buu, one of the original Kais fused with Buu to give him some form of innocence and goodness to his heart, making him less of a threat, somehow making him weaker because there was that goodness. But if you remember, at one point, Buu decided, I'm going to separate my good from my bad. And then Kid Buu came into existence. There was no good left in Buu when Kid Buu was around. He was just destruction incarnate, you know. Um, I have to say, Kid Buu may have been my favorite of the Boos, but don't get me wrong. Good Fat Buu, he is likable. I like him as a character. Yes, I do.
For that same philosophy, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate from the fanboys, but I've always been a Brawley fan.
Actually, I'm going to be fair. I think a lot of people are Brawley fans. I'm such a Brawley fan, and I've got to be fair. I always, in the back of my heart, had hoped that, much like Vegeta, much like Piccolo, much like various other villains, I had always hoped that Vegeta and Goku would collectively kick his ass hard enough that Brawley would turn good. I would love to see Brawley turn good. That's how much of a fan of Brawley I am. I would love to see him turn into a good guy.
Could you imagine Brawley at Super God level?
Well, it's pretty easy to imagine Brawley at Super God level, but you have to realize something about Brawley. While it's not directly stated in the series, it's heavily implied that with Brawley, there's something special about Brawley. There's something uniquely special about Brawley. While Goku is freakishly strong and Vegeta is strong based on his blood lineage, there's something like mentally wrong with Brawley that makes him a whole different level. Like, let me give you an example. Brawley's Super Saiyan 1 form could probably smack around Goku's Super Saiyan 3 form on any given day. That's the power difference.
Yep, Brawley is a psychopath, man.
Yeah. But somehow from that psychopathology, Brawley draws more strength. I truly believe. What do you think, SPX? Do you think Brawley's Super Saiyan 1 form could stand toe-to-toe with Goku's Super Saiyan 3 form?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
Knowing Goku, he'd pull something out of his hair and make Super Saiyan 3 have like a part 2 and make him even more powerful.
Well, I mean, of course, that's Goku's style. He slowly builds his power up. But surely you've noticed the distinction between Brawley's transformations. There's some sort of freakish, tremendous, terrible power in Brawley that Goku and Vegeta don't possess. If you'll realize, Brawley was just Super Saiyan 1. Goku and Vegeta, here's a good example, were both Super Saiyan 1. So you have all three of them Super Saiyan 1. Goku and Vegeta both were fighting Brawley at the same damn time. They couldn't do nothing with them. And they were all three Super Saiyan 1.
Well, if you think about it, okay, the show is based around ki and ki levels and energy and all this.
Right, but the trigger to it all is supposed to be how deeply they can dig into their inner anger, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's triggered emotionally, but if you think about it, Goku has always had the ability to absorb large amounts of ki or create large amounts of ki.
Yeah, I would say create. I don't think I've ever seen Goku technically. I mean, unless you could point something out. I'm not saying he hasn't, because I don't know.
Dude, he's absorbed his spirit bomb before and become like a super spirit Saiyan.
Well, if you look into that though, here's the thing about the super spirit bomb. The super spirit bomb and the Kamehameha specifically, Goku actually makes mention, especially when he's training Gohan. The spirit bomb, particularly if you are pure of heart, you could slam down spirit bombs all day long on somebody that's pure of heart, and they could sit there and drink a soda. It's not going to hurt them. I believe the Kamehameha might be the same way.
Well, see, he absorbed the energy from that, though, in one of them, and in...
I remember the one you're talking about. He was tired. He was out of, and that re-energized him. It gave him the energy he needed.
And if you look, when he first fought Brawley, the very first time, Piccolo, Goku, and Gohan all had to pretty much channel their energy into Goku to beat Brawley.
Yeah.
So he has the ability to absorb energy.
I mean, here's something. Have you guys really thought about it? I realized Brawly was a monster and he was murderous, but so was Vegeta, if you think about it. Um, why is it that certain people got all of these extra chances given to them? Like, for instance, Piccolo. Piccolo got given all these extra chances by Goku. Vegeta got all these extra chances given to him by Goku. But when it came to somebody like Brawly, it's like, oh hell no, this dude's got to die. He has got to die. Why did they choose to do that to Brawly?
Broly was a psychopath. He wanted to kill everything,
So did
especially
Vegeta.
Goku.
Think about it. So did Vegeta. If you
Oh,
remember the
Vegeta just wanted to wipe out the human race.
right.
That in the multitude of
difference.
all the planets.
Well,
See,
I
Broly
will.
was like, fuck this planet, boom, and blew it up.
Well, I mean, I will grant you this. I will grant you this. When it came to mental prowess, Vegeta, there was a certain amount of rationality and reason. You could conversate with Vegeta. You could rationalize with Vegeta. While Brawly, on the other hand, you could be sitting there trying to talk to Brawly, and he's popping the head off of a squirrel to drink his blood or something. Brawly was a psychopath, truly.
Yeah. Well, hell, you think about Vegeta, man. Vegeta, and I believe it has happened at least once or twice. Somebody could have grabbed Vegeta's tail and said, got you. And Vegeta would freeze and look at him and try and figure out what the fuck they're doing.
Well, here's something that I would like to throw out to you guys. Have you guys ever
Super Saiyan Gorilla.
Yeah, that actually there's a name for that. They're called Azaru. They could even, yeah. Let's say that a person was at the stage where they were about to go Super Saiyan. Do you guys know what occurs when an Azaru goes Super Saiyan?
Badassery.
Super Saiyan 4 occurs. If an Azaru manages to reach a level at Azaru form that it goes golden, then they can turn into a Super Saiyan 4. Yes, sir.
That's the next step, yeah.
That's when Goku says, "Hey, Brawly, we can be friends."
Well, I mean that's the thing about Goku that I don't understand. It just seems to be, left up to Goku's personal whims, because the villains that he's destroyed and the villains that he's let live, there's not a great deal of distinction between some of them. If you look at it, of course, everybody loves Piccolo now. Piccolo is basically, let's be fair about this. If you've watched Z and you saw some Super, Piccolo is basically Gohan's traditional real father. Goku's
Yep.
never around, so Piccolo's like, I'll be, Piccolo pretty much raised Gohan, and he did. Hell, Chi-Chi even hangs out with Piccolo. They go to the grocery store together, you know? You see that in Super. Chi-Chi will bring Piccolo along because he'll carry the damn groceries. So Piccolo does have this truly close bond to Gohan. But if you remember the original Piccolo from the Dragon Ball series, Piccolo wanted nothing more than for every human to bow down to him, and those who wouldn't deserve to die. The original Piccolo, but then the original Piccolo really isn't the Piccolo that is now, because the Piccolo, the Piccolo that is now was like a rebirth of that.
See, the original Piccolo was actually called the Demon King.
Yeah, King Piccolo.